Coldplay's music would be nothing without the piano. The piano is truly at the heart of what makes Coldplay Coldplay. It's the engine to their car. So today we're going to look at 5 classic Coldplay songs from across their career and look at how the piano is the thing bringing the emotion to their music. Starting with Clocks. Clocks gives us one of the most well-known piano riffs of all time, the simple but effective arpeggio line. An arpeggio is just when we take a chord, like this chord for example, E flat, that's an E flat in first inversion, and then rather than playing the notes all at once, we play them one after another. That's an arpeggio. And that creates a melody from what would usually just be chords. And Coldplay just apply that arpeggio pattern to each of the chords. So the next chord we get is B flat minor in second inversion, which is quite an unusual chord to follow E flat. Then we get that chord again, and then we go to F minor, but with the same pattern. So what's quite interesting here is this chord progression of E flat, B flat minor again, and F minor is quite unusual, quite distinctive. So on top of having this cool arpeggio pattern, we also have this unusual chord progression. Now, when people learn Clocks on the piano, they so often focus on that opening riff that they forget the rest of the song. And although most of the song is based on that riff and that chord progression, there is a B section, a bridge later on, where we actually change key. We change key to the key of D flat.
Bridge.
Along with many other Coldplay songs, all of the songs that we're looking at today are available to learn on HDpiano. And on HDpiano, they don't just teach you the beginning, they teach you the whole thing, broken down really easily into different sections. Our next iconic Coldplay piano song is Trouble. So Trouble begins with this very somber but satisfying piano riff. And I think what's so satisfying about that riff is we're getting the same right hand part, but that right hand melody keeps getting recontextualized by the chord in the left hand underneath. So the key to making something sound musical and interesting with repetition is giving us the same thing, but subtly changing something about it. So here, the context, the chord is changing. We get that same melody, but each time we hear it in a different light. We hear it above the G chord, then we hear it above the E minor chord, and then we hear it above the B minor chord. Something that's amazing about Coldplay is how consistent they've been at writing hit songs over their career. Most bands have a sort of peak of popularity, and even if they do continue for decades on, they never quite recapture that level of success. But Coldplay have consistently been able to write hit songs over now more than 20 years. So let's look at a slightly later on song. Let's look at Everglow. So something that's really making this song shine is what's called grace notes. So grace notes are tiny little notes you add in before and sort of around the main notes that you're playing. So if we look at the HDpiano lesson for Everglow, we can see here that just before some of the main notes, we get very fleeting notes, these very short notes that happen just before a more significant note. And those are our grace notes. They're notes that you could remove and the song would still work, but they add extra detail. They ornament the melody. The next Coldplay song we're going to look at is a really valuable exercise for any beginner piano player, and that song is The Scientist. As you can see here on screen, the piano part for The Scientist involves both hands playing the same chords, but crucially, the right hand is playing once for every time the left hand plays twice. This means that the two hands play together and then the left hand plays on its own. So it's together, alone, meaning that the player has to have a certain degree of independence in both hands, making this a really valuable exercise for inter-hand coordination. So the last Coldplay song we're going to look at today is far more modern than the other examples. It is Coloratura. Coloratura, particularly compared to most Coldplay songs, is a real epic. It's over 10 minutes long and takes us through various different moods and styles and ideas. In fact, we actually get a section in the middle where we go to 5/4 time, which is an odd time signature. Most songs are in 4/4, and that's true of most Coldplay songs as well, but here we get the rare 5/4 time. So that is just 5 of Coldplay's iconic piano songs. Of course, they have many others, and many of those Coldplay songs are available to learn right now on HDpiano. So do follow the links down below to start learning some Coldplay songs today. And let me know in the comments what your favourite Coldplay song is as well.